And a good evening, everybody. Welcome into the Miller's Edge Extra on this is a fun Saturday night as the tie goes down to Atlanta and they do it once again, taking care of the Georgia Bulldogs 27-24 in a phenomenal fashion, running out the clock at the end of the game. The 4-minute offense was in full effect. The defense struggled a little bit, but did just enough to get the victory over the Georgia Bulldogs. Up to that point, they've won 29 games in a row. 29. The last team to beat that team was the Alabama Crimson Tide. So here you go. The last team to beat Georgia was Alabama. That's pretty cool. And they did it again tonight, 27-24, behind the arm and the legs of Jalen Milroe, who was the MVP of the game. So congratulations to him. It goes me back. I still got receipts that I'm holding for a lot of people that he can never win. He can never win a championship with his type of play. Well, that's just the first part of it. Now it's to wait and see. As Nick Saban said, they did enough. They did what they needed to do. Now you place everything at the table of the committee. Say, here you go. Here is our resume. Do with it what you will. So Alabama getting the win tonight, 27-24 over the Georgia Bulldogs. They are the SEC champions. The final year where the SEC will have divisions. Next year is just straight 1 and 2 will be the two teams. Won't be at East or West. Next year there will be no CBS. They're moving on. So a lot of things happen finally tonight. But a great win, guys. 27-24. Jalen Milroe wasn't pretty at all. His numbers don't look sexy, but he did enough when it counted. He made the play when they really counted, like with his legs. They finally got the quarterback run, big run by him in the fourth quarter, and another run for the first down to solidify the victory for the tie. But nonetheless, a great win for Alabama. We've been talking about it all year long. They won what now? What has it been? They started 1-1, 1-2, whatever it was. They've won what 10 in a row. So now Alabama Crimson Tide in shape to make the college football playoffs.
Yeah. And then really impressive, man. I mean, we talked about this game a lot, headed into this week. And we said, look, you got to put everything behind you in that Auburn game, and you got to hit the reset button. And that's exactly what this football team did. I'm looking at the score, the box score now. Holding Georgia to only 78 rushing yards after giving up 244 yards on the ground to Auburn. That's why I said, even you, Pastor Payne, I told you when everybody was, throwing their hats in the air, man, we gave up all these. I said, guys, you got to relax. Look, it was in Jordan Hare, right? We're going to get back to work and we're going to fine tune some things, and that's exactly what this defense did. Well, I think it started with two things: their physicality and their mentality, right? Physicality was much improved from last week. We brought it to them. We looked much more aggressive on defense, right? Guys looked like they were ready to play today. We played with a chip on our shoulder, and rightfully so. We were the underdog in this game. But I just watched that defense go out there. They really impressed me, right? We had the opening drive. We had some mental errors. It looked like guys were kind of shaking the nerves off. It happens. But after that, defense played extremely well. Our pass rush was effective. That was one of my keys to this game. Georgia only allowed 10 sacks on Carson Beck going into this game. And, they're one of the top offense lines in the country. But I thought our defensive line played phenomenal. And I thought our front seven was going to be a huge factor in this ballgame. And they were. Our linebackers played well. Secondary did a nice job. Kool-Aid McKinstry goes down. Amos comes in, steps up, almost comes up with a pick.
Yes, yeah.
So, yes, that's your guy. You like Amos. So, defensively, man, we played a great ball game, right? Especially we're in some situations, the long punt return, gave up a few things here and there. But overall, man, really impressive performance by defense. So let me get this ad from playing on on the screen. It's distracting me. Here we go. Offensively, you said it. Jalen Milroe wasn't his best performance nonetheless, but look, he found a way to get it done. He somewhat won the game for us towards the end of the game, right? And second half, he came out much better. It's amazing what happens when you start implementing his legs, right? When he starts using his legs, Tommy Rees starts calling plays that makes the defense stay true. Things open up, right? He was able to make some better throws. Things opened up once his legs were involved. Roydell Williams did a phenomenal job. Him and Jam Miller stepping in with Jason McClellan out of the game. The offensive line, really proud of those guys. They got good push up front, did a nice job. And in protection, Georgia at times was using the two spy look, which I hadn't really seen. And that seemed to do okay at first. But then really, once Milroe realized, look, man, there's going to be things that are open. You got two guys. You got to find those windows. So with that being said, the offensive line did a nice job. They protected well. Caden Proctor is so much improved. You got to give him credit. But for the most part, man, you just got to be proud as heck of this team. I mean, you look at where they've come from You mentioned it, the week 2 loss to Texas, struggling against USF. Jalen Milroe gets the reins again, and it's like they haven't turned back since, right? They've just improved and improved. They look like a totally different football team. And we said it, you have been saying it, this Georgia team isn't necessarily the same Georgia team that we've been seeing. And this Alabama team is a lot better than people give them credit for. We saw that tonight. And I'll go as far to say that we honestly left some meat on the bone. We probably could have
play our best football.
We didn't even play our best football, and we beat this Georgia team. And that, to me, is a testament to how good this team is. And we're going to talk about this in a minute. I'm going to let CJ share his thoughts. Or Two Checks, my brother, he's down. He's joining us as well. But here's the thing. We just went out there and beat the number 1 team in Atlanta, and really, like I said, did not play our best game. Still beat them, and we're crowned SEC champions. If that's not a top 4 team, then I don't know what is, right? I still feel like Georgia is technically a top 4 team as well. You got to give them some credit, but not worried about them. I'm worried about us, and I think we proved that tonight that we're a top 4 team.
Well,
and
I think it boils down to what really it is to the committee, right? Is it the best 4? Right. If it's the best 4 teams, those 2 teams that are on the field tonight should be in the playoffs. But Georgia's still a top 4 team. They're number 1 right now as we speak. Of course, that's going to change tomorrow. But right now, in most of the college football playoffs, they have been the number 1 team. So what do you want? Do you want to use all these metrics? Do you want to use the strength of record, strength of schedule, head-to-head, eye test? What are you using to say or to determine who's the best team? For me, I can't go by nothing but a lot of the eye test. Who have they played? So when I look at Alabama, you had the loss to Texas early on. It has to factor in something because they weren't the same team. If these 2 teams played right now, Alabama would be the favorite. Neutral field, at home, it doesn't matter. Alabama would be the favorite. Now, today, give Texas credit. They played really good football, knocking out Oklahoma State. But that's what they have to decide is who is the best 4 teams, or if you're going to go with the best deserving based on all those metrics, then Alabama may miss because now you're going to take the head-to-head with Texas. Now you're going to take some other things in that case. But, we know everybody, the whole world who watched, millions of folks who watched that game today knows that Alabama is a top 4 team in the country, and they are deserving and need to be in the college football playoffs. Sorry to cut that off, CJ, but that's just the thing right now that everybody is going to turn their attention to because now it's chaotic. It's chaos. It's what I told you before it was over. There's going to be some chaos. Florida State's in trouble. They got to play later on tonight against Louisville, who lost last week to Kentucky. What will they do? They play on their 3rd-string quarterback, I believe. The 2nd-string guys, a game-time decision. So what's going to happen? What's going to happen to to the other teams in this conference, the SEC? It will be a travesty if Georgia nor Alabama gets in. If the SEC is out, I don't think many people, for sure, these parts of the world will want to watch the playoffs because it will be a mess if they're not in.
Have you seen who's on the committee?
Yeah,
we looked it up on our radio show. Check us out Monday through Friday, the Miller's Edge, 11 to 12. But we got some exciting news coming up. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. I feel like that's why. That's why we're all in limbo is because look at who we've got making the decisions. I don't think there's any way you leave Alabama out of it. I think Georgia probably is going to be left out of it, unfortunately, because that's a bad loss at the end of the season. Just like I told you earlier, Alabama secured a win against the number 1 team in the country tonight. At the end of the season, you've had the whole season to progress and get better, and now you get knocked off. People love to use the Alabama-Texas head-to-head argument, but again, 2nd game of the season. We're 1 game removed from paying somebody to come play us. I think it's a no-brainer.
Well, the thing is, if you're talking about using that argument of the head-to-head, if they can't put us above Texas because Texas beat us, that means they can't put Georgia above us. So where does Georgia fall, right? So that's what's going to be interesting. I think, in my opinion, and we'll dive more into this about the playoffs, I think if Florida State loses tonight, which is a good chance, I think they're playing with their 3rd-string quarterback that face Louisville, I think there's a good chance that they're out of it. Now, I think there's a good chance that we still make it in ahead of them, even if they do win. But if Florida State loses tonight, I'd almost say we secure that spot. Might be at number 4. I would say Michigan, they win number 1. Washington, probably 2. Texas, I would say 3, and then we slide in at number 4 if Florida State loses. We'll have to see, but you're right. Getting that win over number 1 Georgia the day before the selections should mean a great deal in my eyes. Now,
don't you know
we've
everybody
seen
in the
this
country
committee.
wants Florida State to get in and hope they get to play?
Wait, you think they want Florida State in?
Absolutely. If I'm Michigan, who plays tonight, to play Iowa, everybody expects.
Oh, you mean the other schools? Yeah.
But if you're Washington, if you're Alabama, if you're sitting right there waiting, I want to play Florida State because they're wounded. They're wounded ducks, and they got a third-string quarterback. You kidding me? I mean, that's an easy road to the national championship. So why would you put them in there to give them somebody? I don't care who it is, Alabama, Michigan. It does not matter. Why would you put them in there to give them an opportunity for somebody just to roll, just basically walk into the national championship? You know that their number 1 guy is out for the year. So they had a good season, rewarded for that. Now, they might win the ACC, rewarded for that, but they're not worthy at this point in time. They said that every week is a clean sheet of paper. They tear up this week and they write down new teams the next week. That's what they said. So if that's the case, you have to be able to pay attention to that. As you can see right now, going into the ball game tonight, Georgia 12-0, Michigan was 12-0. Washington got the win over Oregon last night. A very, very good game by them. Florida State plays in Charlotte tonight for the ACC championship. Here you go. Oregon's out now. They're done. Ohio State lost to Michigan. They're done. Texas won today over Oklahoma State. Then you got Alabama that's sitting at number 8. That's now 12-1. So you had number 8 beat your number 1 team. And really, even though we say it was close, it really was a 2-score game. Let's just be honest.
It shouldn't have been.
I mean, they were going to go score again, another touchdown, had not the clock. So they won the game. It wasn't like it was a struggle. They got down 7-0. Boom, boom, boom. They controlled the game in its entirety. So you got to say they didn't just win the game. They won the game pretty convincingly in my mind because I thought it looked a little back and forth, but they had the lead. They had the lead by 10. So you got to think that Alabama at 12-1, SEC champions, beat the team, not just the Georgia Bulldogs, not just the 12-0 Georgia Bulldogs people, but they beat the team that had won 29 games in a row. I don't know if men understand how difficult that is to do, especially in our conference, the SEC. 29 in a row. I mean, it's like 3 years. The last team to beat them was Bryce Young's football team. We played them for the SEC championship, I believe, in Atlanta. So that was a heck of a run. And, they had McConkey, a little banged up. Brock, he was Myers, he was banged up. I mean, so listen. You got to give credit where credit is due, and credit is due to Alabama based on what they had. Coach Saban talked about the resiliency, how they went through stuff, how they fought back. People gave up on them. People had buried them already, so that they were done. They could never finish out the season. What did they do? They just go out and play football. Jalen Milroe got better and better each week, though not pretty tonight. I'll talk about how he held the ball too long. I'll talk about he has to learn how to just run it when it's not there because he shows that he's a dynamic runner, but he does not want to be a runner. He's not a good runner. People are like, what are you talking about? He is not a good runner of the football. He's just not. I mean, he'll run if he has to, but he's not a great runner of the football because he don't want to run. He wants to throw it. And so, but that's a conversation for a little later on. But nonetheless, the Crimson Tide is the SEC champions. And I think, that's my opinion, when we get up tomorrow, I think the thing starts pretty early. There's no way on this beautiful earth that the Lord allows us to walk on that Alabama won't be in the championship Final Four. And if they don't, I think they just might well just beware because I don't know people going to be throwing bombs and fire. It's going to be craziness if they don't.
Easy, hold on now. We ain't trying to don't get us flagged now.
Just beat your number 1 team that's won 29 in a row. That's what they got to go to bed with. Right? Yep. They gotta go to bed. You don't think these crazy people down in Tuscaloosa and surrounding areas gonna be mad? You don't think there's gonna be problems?
They're gonna be mad. No, they're gonna be mad. It's hopefully, we don't condone any of that.
No, I'm not condoning. I'm saying that I wouldn't be shocked if that's what they do. I'm not telling them to go do that, but I'm not
I just have to say
be pretty mad. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I just had to say that for protectors. No, but here's the thing: you're 100% right. I mean, they got to sleep on that. That's the last thing they just saw was that Alabama take down the #1 team that hasn't lost 29 straight in Atlanta, arguably Georgia's backyard. So I agree, they should be in there. We'll have to see. You know, this committee has done some weird things up to this point. Uh, Going back to the game real quick, just some pros and cons from both of you. I mean, we talked a little bit about. You know, I thought we out physical them. We did a good job protecting the football in this game. I mean, really, I'll be honest with you, man. We just really played winning football. We were very sound. Again, it wasn't great initially. Jalen Milroe struggled to kind of connect with some stuff early on, but look, we found a way. We ran the ball well, and ultimately, you got the win. That's all that matters. We controlled the game. I thought we brought it to them, unlike the week prior against Auburn. But it was honestly, it was a typical heavyweight matchup. I mean, and look, Carson Beck, I know he was 21 to 29 for 243 yards, but in 11 games this season, he threw for 250 plus. So technically, we held him shy of that number. Rushing, we held them to only 78. Such a good job by the defense. You got to give credit to Carson Beck, though. He's a good quarterback, but really limiting Brock Bowers and Ladd McConkey. I know they're banged up, but we did a nice job with them. But overall, man, I think the highlight was just the defense really coming to play. They did a really nice job just bringing it to the offense. And, again, Georgia's offense like a top 10 offense, right? And we saw that early on. But as the game progressed, man, the defense really figured some things out. They got adjusted and did a nice job overall. But did y'all have any other observations from the guy? I know you wanted to talk about Milroe kind of holding the ball a little too long. I agree. He just got to – look, if something's not there, either take off or throw it away, right? Too many times.
Check downs, go through progressions.
Yeah, he that on the wheel route.
He did, and I was about to say, and that's something we did talk about. I know you wanted to say something about that. Look,
yeah, he had a couple times he had to check down open with that, but
he's got to do a better job. Look, scanning the field. 100%.
I'm the biggest Jalen Milroe fan. Roll Tide. I'm him. That's my dude, right? I mean, I stood up for him when everybody was against him and saying this guy is good enough to get things done. Even when people say, I don't know, he can't throw, he can't read defense, blah, 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 blah. I was saying y'all all around when I got those receipts. But here's the thing. If I was coaching him and I sat down and watched film with Jalen, I would say, look at this. You had guys running open tonight, and that hadn't been the only game, that you could hit. If you do a better job of processing the information quicker and scanning the field quicker, there are guys open. And that's what he has to work on. If he wants to be an NFL quarterback, not talking about college, but if he wants to be a quarterback in the National Football League, he has to learn where those guys are and know where those guys are and get rid of the ball. Those sacks he took tonight was on him. The offensive line, by the way, played their tails off.
Running backs had good blitz pickup, too.
Yeah, I mean, they picked up blitz. I mean, he held on to the ball. A couple of those sacks. Now, the one he tried to spin out that came scot-free off the corner, off the edge. Okay, I give him that one. But the other ones was on Jalen Milroe. You don't take those sacks. And with his speed and with his athleticism, you go. Just run. You got to. If you get 5-8 yards, so be it. That's better than negative plays. That's better than negative yardage. Why have drive stoppers? As Coach Saban would say, his words. So he has to be better. He is dynamic as a quarterback. There's no doubt next year he's going to be a Heisman number 1, 2, 3 guy because he can put up numbers that's astronomical, right? But man, he holds the ball too long. I mean, we can see it obviously because we sit there and watch it on TV, but he has to be able to see it faster, meaning process the information. Not saying he's dumb. That's not what I'm saying. But as a quarterback, you have to be able to process information very quickly and find out where you go. You know where your guys are. You should know where every guy is on the football field. And if you get quick pressure, I'm Charlie check down or I'm running. It's just that simple. So that's really the only negative I got from the offense tonight, guys. I mean, I thought they were really good. They ran the ball. They were physical. They completed passes when they needed to. And I know we're going to talk about this on the Isaiah Bond catch and the CBS trying to make it a big deal by coming back even after halftime with the official up there with them and saying they should have challenged the play, blah, 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 blah. So that had nothing to do with it. So Alabama won the game. I don't want to hear those people that's going to start that because I know it's already – I can't see it. But I promise you, I promise we got a ton of them out there.
Dre said it's about Jalen trying to hit those big home run passes down the field. That's why he holds the ball a little bit long sometimes.
I wouldn't doubt that.
Well, no, and he's got a point. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, you need the chunk yardage. You need the check downs. Every throw can't be a 60, 70-yard bomb. And let's not forget, a lot of the times they're behind the receiver a little bit. So it is a little bit risky where if you just scan the field from the get-go, check down, throw your swing route. I mean, there are probably 2 or 3 more touchdowns that we could have put up where we had a running back wide open down the sideline. If you just check down, look to your right, it's quick, easy pass.
Yeah, no, and I was about
to be a big home run.
No, you're spot on. I was about to say, but Dre has a point. The reason he's holding the ball is he is looking for that home run shot through the air instead of running. So that's true. But what we're saying is, and I agree 100% with you, CJ. Look, here's the thing, but Dad said it best though. He should know. It shouldn't even necessarily be going through progressions. He should know his route concepts, and he's knowing half the time when that running back is sitting in the flat, it's like a play action type, movement, right? He's like, doing a play action type thing. The back kind of makes his way to the flat. He should always know if there's nothing, if I'm not seeing anything, I'm scanning, I'm going through my progressions, I'm not seeing anything, boom, right back to my running back. He should be clear. Dumping it off to the back should at least give you at the bare minimum 2-3 yards. But I always take, you got Jam and Roydell, those guys, man. I mean, they're one-on-one with the corner or whoever is responsible for the flat. So I agree. You're right. We should have probably had some more plays there. And he'll get, and here's the thing though, we're not saying it to be critical of him. It's just the truth. When you watch it, you'll see if he just either just does a better job scanning quicker or just has in the back of his mind saying, okay, this isn't here. This isn't here. I got this guy. Boom. Go straight to him. That will make him a much better football player. So we just had to put that out there because that is the truth. But nonetheless, look, he's doing a good job. He's racking up wins. He just got crowned an SEC champion and the MVP of the game. So kudos to him. And he's going to work on that. He's going to get
carrying this team. He's doing a great 100%.
Job. Somebody else said we should have had 3 or 4 INTs. Yeah, I told y'all we left some meat on the bone tonight, man. We should have had Kool-Aid should have had that pick. He jumped a little early. It was a little high. Amos came in, almost had a pick. I think there was like one more. But I'm telling y'all, man, look, here's the thing, man. If we continue to play like this as a team and we get a playoff bid, man, there's a good chance, I'm telling you, we can make that run. Now, I know we're kind of jumping the gun here, but look, tonight we looked like an Alabama football team tonight, even not playing our best. And that's what you want to see out of this group. Let's get to some of these super chats real quick. I know we missed one. We've got Kelly. Miss Kelly Kells with the $9.99 super chat. Thank you so much,
hey, Kelly.
Glad you're in here. She said, so proud of Proctor, his best game yet. Milroe has carried the weight of the world on his shoulders, and now he's MVP. Roll Tide, everyone. Kelly, appreciate you joining us. And I agree. Proctor played he was great. I talked a bunch about him this week on the SEC pregame show I did with Coach Saban, and even on the show earlier today, literally the pregame show for the game. We talked about the offensive line and their growth and development and giving credit to the offensive line as a whole, but specifically Proctor for maturing, growing up, and just getting so much better throughout the year, but also to Coach Wolford, who's been doing a good job of developing those guys. But Proctor's really grown up before our eyes, and he, like we said, he's going to be a good football player. He's got the physical body for it. He's got elite size. He's strong. He's getting better with his footwork. He just had to learn and grow up. I mean, you got to remember, just a year ago, this guy was playing against 16 and 17-year-olds. Now he's playing against was 29-0 Georgia Bulldogs, and he played a great game tonight, Kelly. So shout out to Caden Proctor and Milroe, who, again, man, proved so many people wrong, throwing up the link. Because, look, they let everybody know. They got crowned SEC champions. Remember, going into the season, everybody was picking LSU to be SEC champions. We had callers on our show saying, you'll never win with Jalen Milroe. You can't win with that type of quarterback. He can't do this.
Hey, we had some of our own hosts saying that. I mean,
wait, you don't remember Joseph calling in saying that?
Yeah, I know. Of course I do.
Oh,
I'm just saying we had even some of our own hosts. But think about this, guys.
Our own hosts. Yeah.
And by the way, hello, Kelly. Good to be with you tonight. This is what the committee going to have on their desk with Alabama tomorrow. They're going to have 4 wins against college football top 25 teams. Cuatro, since you like to talk a little Spanish.
See.
3 of those wins coming via double digits against LSU, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. They beat the number 1 team in the country the night before the Final 4 is decided. They end the 29-game winning streak. So now you got 4 major wins in their top 25. The top 25 that they put out there, double digits, 3 of them, and then they got the win against number 1 Georgia. So if I'm a committee person, I'm sitting here looking at the resume. I'm sitting here looking, let's just say, if it's Florida State, that's 13 and up. Am I just going to let, because they're undefeated in a bad, can I just say it again, a bad conference, the team that you are playing lost to the middle of the road SEC team last week, right? So you got to deal with all that this morning. So who can say Alabama is not one deserving, and not just deserving, but they are, look at their resume. They don't have some weak resume. The only loss will be against a team that you're going to probably have, I don't know, what would Texas be, top 5? They're going to be top 4 too, probably. At home, that's the only dash you can have for Alabama. How can you not put them as a top Final Four team? I just see that as something crazy. But yeah, we're proud of Proctor. I think he's played great. His kickbacks have been better. His holding his hand punch has been better. He's staying with his blocks, moving his feet a lot better. It just shows you that, the longer you're in the program, you get that experience. And then about 6-7 weeks in, you're not a freshman anymore. You grow up. And I think Proctor has grown up to become a very solid football player for the Crimson Tide.
No doubt about it. And they needed him throughout this season. Left tackle is a pivotal piece to any football team. And he's really stepped up and has been a great help for this offense and the improvements that they've made. So, Kelly, thank you so much again for the Super Chat. Love that you're hanging out with us on this post-game show because we are the 2023 SEC champions. We've got Genevieve's house again, 1999 Super Chat. Genevieve, glad you're here. She says, roll tide. Remember, they were saying the same thing last year about Jay Daniels from LSU. Look at Daniels this year, maturation for Milroe. That's a great point. You look at the progress in the maturation that Jaden Daniels had, and look how much better of a football player he was this season than last, right? He grew up. He learned. And I expect those kind of improvements from Jalen Milroe, right? Again, this is just his first year starting. So take everything that he's doing right now, right? And then give him another offseason to work on his mechanics, work on his progressions, understanding things a lot more, right? And then put him back. And not just him. If you look at when they always list the starting lineup, we've got a young football team. There's a bunch of sophomores on this team, some freshmen, Caleb Downs, right? And some juniors. A lot of guys are returning. There's not a huge senior class, right? So this is going to be a very dangerous football team next season. No, we're jumping the gun. We want to focus on now. A lot of stuff, a lot of unfinished business. But I am excited, Genevieve, for next season and seeing the progression this team, specifically Jalen Milroe, can make. So I agree 100% with you. I think he's going to be an even better football player next year. And he's probably going to start the season off as one of the main names in the Heisman race.
I agree.
Y'all good on that? So, Genevieve, thank you so much again for the Super Chat and your support always. We appreciate you hanging out with us and being a part of our team. So thank you so much. And roll tide to you. We've got another $20 Super Chat from James. James says, great game, fellas. Roll tide. Pastor, pull those receipts, man. Oh, trust me, he's got those receipts. He's got plenty of them. He's been calling out people, honestly, the past several weeks on the radio show.
I got some more.
Yeah, he's got plenty. I mean, so I'm trying to think of some of the big pundits that have been talking. Well, first of all, hold on. Here's a huge receipt. David Pollock, man. I mean, dude had been talking nonsense. Georgia clearly has the better coach. They're much better coach football team. They're not going to make mistakes. They play winning football. I mean, David Pollock. He's biased. You got another one?
Georgia, obviously, you've seen in the past couple seasons now, really, they've taken hold of college football. They've done an unbelievable job. This football team, this isn't a
saying that next to Coach Saban is crazy.
That is crazy.
I need to get that receipt from Pollock.
And that was David Pollock. So we got several receipts from Pollock.
He's on fire. Even tonight, he says he X this, whatever you want to call it. I know this would tick people off, but Georgia has beat Georgia tonight. Missed field goal, turnover inside on 20. Way too many penalties. Still very much in the game. Committee doesn't put the 4 best teams in. They pick the 4 they can justify the easiest. UJ is out. He does say that they're out, but again, he made so many excuses already that Georgia beat Georgia. That's like even when Alabama wins, he don't want to give the credit, but you got to give the credit. You got to say this might be top 2 coaching jobs for Nick Saban with this team because he didn't have a lot of, you're gonna go down the list and see a bunch of All-Americans, all SEC type guys that's on the list that people are aware of right now. You don't see that. You see just some guys. Granted, a lot of these guys are going to be all SEC, all America. We know that. But going into the season, we didn't see that. So I would say this is a top 2 coaching job for Nick Saban. I think he's done an outstanding job getting the most out of his players, working with them. I mean, not really just, Jalen Milroe, being patient with them. I think, he did an outstanding job. So, James, I've pulled David Pollack receipt. I'll make sure I'll retweet him on that one and get that from him here in a minute. But you got to give credit to Alabama. I mean, Georgia's had an easy way. They've played an easy schedule. They struggled against Georgia Tech. They struggled against Auburn, the same team that we gave 200 yards to. They gave up 200 yards to as well. So I think, Alabama is in prime position. I think they're going to be in the playoffs. I think they either play a team like Michigan. That would be a great matchup. And I like Bama in that matchup too. But the only other team is Washington. Washington don't have defense. Who's going to be that 4th team? Will it be, I don't know who else I'm thinking. See, who's in Washington, Michigan, Bama,
Texas.
It might say
Florida State.
Florida State is tied 0-0.
I think Texas is in. You got to say
the
the Texas. Right now. I think you're going to have Bama at 4, Texas at 3, Washington at 2, and Michigan at 1. Florida State's out.
Even if Florida State wins, you think that?
And I think you might have a Texas-Alabama national championship game.
That would be. I think that would be a heck of a game. I think that'd be a good game. But James, I appreciate it. I think I also saw you comment that I signed a glove for you when back at Midtown Village. So glad I could do that, man. That's awesome, man. That brings back a lot of memories, man. I love Midtown Village. But speaking of Midtown Village, we do our show at Buffalo's Cafe in Midtown Village. If you're ever in Tuscaloosa, over at Midtown Village, man, check out Buffalo's Cafe or the Good Feet store if you need some art supports. They're 2 of our partners on our show. But James, I appreciate the support, man, the comment, and roll tide, brother.
Gears said Georgia is another example of a Clemson-type team that is going to fall off. I would pump the brakes on that.
I was about to say I'm not saying they're going to be like a Clemson type and fall off just yet. They're still a good football team. They're still a really good football team. I just don't think
very good team, and they're going to be around for.
Clemson went to 8 wins, by the way.
Yeah, so they're just not the juggernaut that they might have once were. But again, don't count them out. Just like you never count Alabama out. I mean, Kirby Smart, man, he's doing a really nice job with that program. He recruits well. They develop well. If I was on the committee, I would have Georgia still as one of my top 4 because I would go by the best teams. See, and that's where it gets tough because here's the thing, and we'll get back to these super chats in a second. Right, Washington, right? They won the Pac-12 championship. They're undefeated. They're a lock. Okay, so you got 3 spots. All right, Michigan's probably gonna win this football game tonight. Say they win, I say they're a lock. They're undefeated, conference champions. So that's 2. They only got 2 spots left. And so when you look at it,
right now you're going off of conference champions and not best teams per se, right?
No, I'm going off of undefeated and conference champions in a major conference, not the ACC. I'm saying Pac-12. I know Pac-12 is not. It's weird even saying a major conference, but if you watch Washington, man, I mean, they're a good football team. They're in it, right? They're not a Florida State type team. Plus, they're not on their 3rd string quarterback. You got to take that into consideration.
Well, they got a great quarterback with great receiver. The defense going to give up 400-500 yards. So if they win against anybody, it's going to be a shootout. Speaking of college football playoffs, here's what Kirby Smart had to say real quick.
As far as your second question, look, Bill Hancock said it's not the most deserving. He said simply, it's the best 4 teams. So if you're going to tell me somebody sitting in that committee room and doesn't think that Georgia team, well, not one of the best 4 teams, I don't know if they're in the right profession because it's a really good football team. talented football team. It's a really balanced football team. So they have to make that decision. But it's the best 4 teams, and that's critical.
So there you go. So what I'm saying to you is this: I mean, if Hancock says the best 4 teams, the best 4 teams, right? I mean,
that's what they say, but they
to
change that. They change that all
but
the time.
This was the situation with Georgia that when they won the national championship. Think about it. When Alabama beat them when they were undefeated in the SEC championship, the last time they lost was to Bryce Young, right? Alabama smoked them. I mean, but they smoked them pretty good. Georgia still got in.
It was like 41-24, I think.
Right, meet them by 17 or whatever it was. But Georgia still got in the college football committee and then won the whole thing. So that's my point. Georgia is, if I had to put a true top 4 that I've seen with my eyes, I watch a lot of football. Alabama and Georgia, 2 of them was there tonight. Was that not a national championship atmosphere tonight? Yes.
Yeah.
Florida State won't even be close. The ACC will have no merit to me at all. Right? The Big 12, okay, you want to throw Washington in there and the Big 10 team. Right? I would put Michigan in there. But Michigan really has won 2 games. Michigan, who they beat? Penn State and Ohio State. That's it. So I would have to question Michigan because I don't know enough about Michigan.
Agreed.
Ohio State, I would have to say the same thing. I think because they only got 1 loss, and it was to Michigan in a close one. So what do you put Ohio State? I still think they're one of the better teams in the country. So that's what I'm saying. You start putting all these crazy people in there. They don't know that. Are they gonna go? What's the strength of record? How many wins do they have? Their teams that they beat. How many wins or how many losses or what were they? I mean, that don't mean the hell of beans. Alabama lost week 2 when the quarterback was out. Period. But who wants to play Alabama right now?
Nobody. But the only thing I'll say is when you talk about the year or 2 prior, the difference is you didn't have this many teams in contention, right? By this time, a lot of people had already kind of knocked themselves out. There wasn't 7 or 8 teams vying for these playoff spots. This year is a little bit different because until yesterday, I mean, there was 1, 2, 3, 4 one-loss teams and 4 undefeated teams. If I'm getting that right, looking at the thing that's pulled up now on the college football playoff website, then Oregon lost, so they're out of it. But you still got a 1-loss Ohio State team, 1-loss Texas team, 1-loss Alabama team, now 1-loss Georgia team, all competing. So I think this year is a little bit different. That's why it's so muddy. But you're 100% right, and Kirby's right. I mean, they say it's the 4 best teams. It should be the 4 best teams. However, we saw last year they put TCU in, right? They were undefeated until their conference championship game. They lost to Kansas State, and they were at number 3 going into that conference championship game. They stayed put at number 3, and they still made an appearance. They looked okay in the semifinal, and then they get to the national championship, and they got completely embarrassed. They got boat raced by Georgia. So with all that being said, that's why I think it's just kind of like, man, the committee picks and chooses, which criteria they're going to follow. Sometimes it's the 4 best teams. Sometimes it's the 4 most deserving. I think
it's going to be the best.
It's supposed to be, but
that's why I asked, have you looked at who's in the committee? I mean,
we have. I mean, they're athletic directors.
A neighborhood rec gym. One guy works at the YMCA.
But most of them have some ties. Most of them are athletic directors or former coaches. And then
have you seen the schools or the ADs at?
Yeah, you got Michigan,
Nevada.
Kentucky, Nevada. Yeah, trust me, we pulled up the list. You act like I'm trying to.
I'm just saying, you have no experience with major college football. Nevada owning a rec gym. Why are you in charge of these kind of major decisions? That's what I
agree 100%. But the problem is you can't have a conflict of interest. Just like I don't understand how Michigan has their athletic director on the board. But
hold on a second. Here's what the GOAT had to say about why Alabama should be in the playoffs.
The message that I would send is we won the SEC. We beat the number 1 team in the country, which everybody thought on the committee was the number 1 team in the country. And they won 29 straight games. So if we needed to do something to pass the eye test, I guess that probably contributed to it significantly. And if you really want the 4 best teams to compete, the four most deserving teams that have progressed throughout the season. You know, we're not the same team we were when we played Texas. We're not the same team that when we played South Florida. So I don't think we should be considered as that team right now. And I think people should look at the whole body of work in terms of what the team was able to accomplish and what they were able to do. And I think this team is one of the four best teams and one of the teams that's deserving to be in the playoff. The message that
there's a goat. I agree 100%.
I agree with him too. And then last thing I'll say, just in terms of this whole playoff thing, is I just hope the committee keeps the same energy that they had when it came to us in Texas. They would not allow us to jump Texas because they beat us in the head-to-head. Well, I'm trying to figure out how they're going to handle this Georgia situation because we just beat Georgia head-to-head. So that means, theoretically, that Georgia can't jump us. With those, circumstances and criteria, I think there's no way we're left out. But we're going to have to see. And a lot of it depends. Again, I think if Florida State loses, I think we're almost locked to be in there. Even if Florida State wins, I think there's still a really good chance that we still make it. But let me pull up, see real quick, Florida State, because they're playing right
now. This is a random question while you look that up.
Still,
does the committee change over every year, or is it the same? Has it been the same people, maybe with an addition or subtraction here or there?
I'd have to look, but for chat, do you guys know that? I think they change the committee each year. I think
is it every year a new committee, or because surely these are the people that put TCU in last year?
That's a great question. Chat, do you guys know? Does the committee change, or does it stay the same? I want to say it changes, but while the chat's on that, let's get back to these super chats real quick because I don't want to forget about them. We've got Dr. Crystal, one of our favorites, always, joining our radio show and always here showing support. Dr. Crystal with the $5 super chat. Doc, hope you're doing well tonight. She said, great win. Let's see what this ridiculous committee does. Roll Tide, roll. Glad you're feeling better, POP. Yeah, we are too. We got him. We got him back, and he's he's out of that hospital, that uncomfortable bed. So I'm still nursing him up, but glad he's live and in action on the show right now. I think it's good.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Dr. Chris. I don't feel the best, to tell you that, but all these medicines that I'm taking got me a little loopy, lightheaded. But it's just I'm glad to be out of the hospital and get to be here for sure, because that was nothing but a miracle, to be honest with you, that they found the blockage in my neck area. So that was a big deal. But I would have gone to. I don't go to the doctor. I know you're a different kind of doctor. I never would go. I never go to the doctor. But when my legs were pretty much weak and couldn't walk, I knew something was wrong. But I didn't feel bad. Just had that issue going on. It's kind of weird. But I still got a long way to go to get back. But I'm starting that now. Change the diet. Put the cigars down. On the road to recovery. So thank you for your kind words.
No doubt. But progress. We're live. We're on the show. We're in the comfort of our homes. So we're making progress. But appreciate that.
They said that the committee switches up every couple of years, almost like in terms. And then somebody else said exactly what I pointed out the other day. They said Condoleezza Rice was once on the committee, which I was kind of curious about that too. Why a
I don't know.
government official is,
she went to Stanford though.
I mean,
I don't know how they come up with the committee. The good news is, folks, that they're going to a 12-team playoff, and Alabama should not miss a playoff as long as we're playing the type of football that we're accustomed to playing. So that's the good news. And moving forward, we shouldn't really have to. Now, the teams that are at 12, 13, 14, they can deal with this. But the Alabamas, the Georgias, the Ohio States, they shouldn't have to worry about this anymore. But again, Dr. Crystal, thank you so much for always supporting us and what we do. We appreciate you so much. We've got another super chat, a $50 super chat from Rusty Dent's Garage.
Beep, 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 beep.
Rusty Dent's Garage says, Roll Tide, roll. As an old D2 O lineman, I'm happy to see Bama's O-line grow and mature this season. Roll Tide, Rusty, no doubt, man. I mean, they've grown up. They've grown up so much, and I said on the pregame show today that they're the most improved group on this football team, I mean, in the first half of the season, they gave up, I think, like 35 sacks. And just in the last handful of games, they've only given up 4. I guess until tonight, they're probably about 6 or so. But, I mean, talk about a shift. And not only that in pass pro, but even running the football, just getting so much more movement up front, right? Being more physical, being more sound, in their schemes and getting on the perimeter, getting out in blocks and just making things happen, right? Opening things up. So everything starts up front. We talk about that all the time with the offensive line, the defensive line. It's imperative to have good trench play, and that's exactly what those guys have been doing in recent games. So you got to tip your hat to them, Coach Wolford. And no doubt, man, I love seeing them grow up and mature because that's what we've needed all season. And we're starting to see them play like what we thought they would play like going into the season. I mean, you got these big, burly guys, right? They're finally starting to play like that, and they're doing a much better job with their footwork and movement and protecting the quarterback. So,
agreed.
Yeah, appreciate it, Rusty. I think you're spot on. Offensive line play is so critical, especially now, in these big games, SEC championship game and the playoffs, which we're all assuming that they're going to make it. The offensive line play is going to be crucial, but they're getting good at the right time. And I think, Eric Wolford, who's the offensive line coach that I've known back from the South Carolina days, has done a good job. I was very hard on him in the beginning, but it's a good coach, and he's got those guys, not just him, but 77. I mean, the whole offensive line is playing a little bit more nasty. You know what I'm talking about when I say that. So, Proctor, for one, he's done a 180. And so this entire offensive line has done an outstanding job. Appreciate the $50 super chat. The offensive line has been excellent the last month or so of the season.
They have. And I'll tell you this, man, I'm excited to see Caden Proctor and his development going into next year, right? Because this year he's matured on the field just by playing experience. He's going to have a whole offseason to go get in better shape, right? Because that's one thing I'd say about him. I'd probably tell him he probably could shed a couple pounds. He's going to hit the offseason program. He's going to lose some of that weight. He's going to carry that experience over. I think he's going to end up being a really solid left tackle here at Alabama. Latham's probably leaving. Booker, I want to say, is he a sophomore? I think he's only a sophomore. Maybe it might be his third year. I think he's only a sophomore, so he should be back. The center, I think he's a senior. I'm not necessarily
that's probably good
that.
news.
I hate to be like that, but again, Rusty, thank you so much for that $50 super chat, man. That's awesome. Thank you so much for your support, man. We love having you part of our team and always enjoy you hanging out with us on our post game shows and our extra shows. Let's we'll go circle back to some of these comments real quick. We'll roll through them. Ed was saying that the committee members serve their terms, kind of like you said. So that makes sense. So appreciate you answering that question. Got Kelly saying praying for a speedy recovery and complete recovery for you.
Thank you, Kelly.
Ty says when we beat Tennessee, just have a Coke and a smile.
Diet Coke.
Yeah, maybe we'll figure something out. We'll figure something out. We got a long time today.
Water with a lemon. I mean, I'm gonna be basically eating rabbit food. It's it was good news. It was good news. But I'm getting my strength back, and I'll get back home. And I got to work on my legs and things like that. So I'll get my strength.
Oh man,
yeah,
no doubt. Well, Justin kind of had to spoil the news and say, I guess Seth has another year.
No, he's not bad. I mean, he was bad early. But, I mean, he did have another errant snap tonight, and then last week at Auburn he had an errant snap. I mean, so he
kind of is responsible for 4th and 31.
I'm thinking.
I guess the safety clap, though. The safety clap, supposedly.
I think one of those young bucks would take his spot, but he's a good backup.
I hate to be like that. It's just I'm sorry, man. It gets frustrating because it's like it's hard. You can't use the argument with the kickers. Kickers, you always say, "Oh, you only have one job." It's easy to say, "Oh, the center only has one job," except he has 2. He's got to snap, then block. So it's not easy by any means, but just like, come on, man. At some point, we can't be in the SEC
he's
champion.
Responsible for 4th and 31. That's hilarious.
Well, I'm saying, I mean, it technically shouldn't have been there. Now, you know what? God doesn't make mistakes, and so there's probably a reason Seth snapped that ball like that. And it allowed Jalen to get in that situation for Auburn to play that weird form of prevent goal line defense with rushing 2 and a spy. Don't know why you need a spy with 31 yards to score, but you got everybody waiting to come up. So I don't know what they were doing there, but nonetheless, we won the game. But that's all that matters.
Is Danny good?
Yeah, I think he's good. I think he was just
Oh,
relaxing
oh,
for a
you
second.
Nah,
Yeah, I know. We're a
I'm still-
little nervous. We're on edge. We got to make sure he's good. I thought he
nah, I'm
about.
still-
the Millers were on edge. We couldn't see you.
We had to take a quick little second to check up on the passer fan. We'll give him a second to catch his breath. So, well, yeah. What's y'all's thoughts, man? Were y'all impressed by the game? Obviously, you're thrilled. You're ecstatic that we're SEC champions, right? Did you expect this going back, to week 2, week 3? Were y'all confident that Alabama could pull this off? Were you confident in Jalen Milroe? What are your thoughts? I'll be honest. I mean, you can go back and pull up our shows. We kept telling everybody, be patient, give them time. They got to find their niche. They got to hit their stride. Sometimes it takes time with football teams, and that's what happened, man. We told you guys, Jalen Milroe can do it. He's the guy for the job. And look where we're at now. SEC champions, and Jalen Milroe, the guy that a lot of people doubted, got to pull up the receipts one more time, is the one responsible for 4th and 31. Played a great deal in this football game. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, this guy has really just been, remarkable, and it's just amazing. The growth and maturation and improvements from him, this whole football team in general. But with that being said, man,
when we play at our peak, like we had flashes during this game, I don't think there's anybody in the country that can beat us. I think we beat Michigan easily. I think we beat Washington easily. I mean, I honestly believe that. I feel like when Milroe's playing his best ball, when the defense is looking like that old school Alabama defense that we know and love so much, I don't think anybody beats us. I don't think we have anything to worry about.
Yeah,
I think you said it. Go ahead.
I think they play their best ball. They've been playing their best ball. Of course, discount last week because it's Auburn. It's your rivalry. So I don't think you really put a whole lot of stock, something we said on the air last week. But not to pat myself on the back, but I predicted that Alabama will win out. I told you that they'll play Georgia in the championship game, and I like the matchup, and I feel like Alabama would win the matchup.
Hold up. When did you say that? Because there was at one point you were saying you thought Tennessee could be the team in the East.
I said it
Oh,
on the
wait,
air.
whoa.
150%. 150%.
You mentioned Tennessee maybe being the team in the East at one point. I remember that.
At one point.
I do vaguely remember that. I'm not going to lie.
I said that they could beat Georgia. It's going to be hard, Georgia going to Tennessee, but I expected Georgia to win the East. I like Missouri as a team that I really liked. But I said if Alabama played Georgia, I like the matchup.
It's still 0-0, Florida State, Louisville.
Yeah, I mean, there's a good chance Florida State loses that game. And like I said, in my opinion, if Florida State loses that game, I think we're almost a lock in the number 4 spot. And I think it would be probably Michigan, Washington, probably
if Florida
Texas,
State
and then us
wins,
number 4.
They're going to leave us out.
If Florida State wins, you think they might leave us out?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Florida State with a huge mistake. I mean, you talk about the Alabama center. The Florida State quarterback was walking around making audibles. The center just snapped it and it hit him in the gut. Turnover in the red zone.
Well,
that's no good. That's good for us, though. So we'll keep an eye on that and keep everybody updated with that. But let me ask you guys this. So after seeing Alabama play this whole regular season, seeing them compete in this SEC championship, being crowned SEC champions, and just seeing where they're at right now, right? And let's just say, regardless if they get in or, well, let's just say when they get in, if they get into the playoffs, what is the most important thing that you think they need to improve upon or correct when they make this playoff run?
Well, I think the number one thing is, like we said earlier, the decision making by Milroe. Seeing the field better. He's getting the protection. We blamed the offensive line for so long. We blamed the receivers. They're not getting open. We blamed everybody but his grandma. I mean, think about it. He had every excuse for Jalen Milroe. We blamed everybody. Well, everybody else gotten better. And he has as well. But when you're playing teams that can match you athletically, I think you got to be able to, take advantage of those things. And so he left a lot on the bone. I mean, and he needs to decide that, hey, I know he wants to be a pocket quarterback. I mean, he'll just stand back there. I mean, that's what happened to Auburn game. He likes that. But he needs to understand his legs are valuable. he needs to understand, man, that there's so much stuff that can happen when he uses his legs, like he did tonight. Those first downs was huge. But if he just make the decision quicker, I mean, some of those runs will be touchdowns.
Yeah.
So I just don't think he scans the field really well. He's not there yet as a quarterback as far as seeing the entirety of the football field. When he gets to that, look out. But right now, he needs to just up it up a little bit because he does have guys running open that he can get the ball to. And he can make every throw. We know that. But sometimes a quarterback like himself will get so caught up in hearing the naysayers, hearing coaches even, hearing people say, and in the media that's, analysts and people like that, oh, he can't be a pocket quarterback. They go over and beyond to try to prove that they're a pocket quarterback. That's what Jalen Milroe's done. But the picture I saw tonight, just looking at it, him and Jeff Allen, him and other guys with him crying and hugging, told me everything I needed to know about what kind of kid he is, what kind of person he is, and how much they believe in him. So that's the only thing I got to say. I'd like to see the defense get a little bit more style, not give up big plays. They gave up a couple of chunk plays tonight, especially that crucial part of the game. They gave up 51 yards or something like that. You can't give up those big plays, but those two things would be the two things I would say. Other than that, man, they're pretty good.
I mean, do you agree with me that a Michigan win would be pretty easily playing our best ball? I mean, I'm trying to figure out how that was a funny
Well,
comment.
they got a running quarterback. Excuse me, they got a running quarterback, and McCarthy. They got a great little scooter, little running back. They don't throw the ball much. They're a running football team and play great defense. They are Alabama in the Big Ten. That's who Michigan is, and so, but that's why I said I do like the matchup. If they get to that fourth spot and play number one Michigan, I like Alabama in that game. I don't know offhand what these bowl games are, but I still like the matchup.
I just have that much faith in Alabama when they play well. I mean, I really don't see anybody that they can't beat by a touchdown or two. I honestly believe that. So,
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's true. I mean, the thing is, look, when they come out with the right mentality, they're playing physical, they're executing, they're not having mental mistakes, they're not, giving up those big plays. Defensively, I mean, look, our pass rush has been great. Our run defense has been solid, right? There's been times where it's kind of dipped a little bit, but for the most part, it's been solid. But we've been forcing a lot of turnovers this year. I know we missed some today, but that was the issue for us last season. We weren't really forcing turnovers. We cleaned that up. Defensively, man, we've been playing some really good football this season. Offensively, I agree 100% with you. I think that's the most glaring issue is the decision making. I will even take it a step further. If you look at the first drive, the plays that Tommy Rees called, we kind of looked like we were reverting back to just drop back passes. And I was like, wait, what are we doing? What are we doing? But then you notice once we start running the football, specifically getting Jalen Milroe involved, quarterback design runs, it makes the defense stay true and it opens things up. And that's when we're at our best. So
which we have received for that too.
Yeah, 100%. So what I would say is I agree 100% with the Pastor Payne on that one, right? That we offensively, we've got to make those decisions quicker. We got to stay true to ourselves, run the football, continue to be physical, and keep Jalen Milroe involved. I'm telling you, when you see him involved in these game plans, whether it's quarterback design runs, getting them out and moving them outside the pocket and whatnot, the offense just rolls so much better. And so that's really about all I can say about cleaning it up. I agree with you, CJ, that when we're executing, we're sticking to our game plan, we're playing within ourselves. We can play with anybody in the country. We're as good as anybody. We've got all the talent. We've got the coaching. It's just a matter of executing. And a testament is you go back and look how many times we had sluggish starts and we're just like, oh man, going at halftime, we make those adjustments and we come out guns blazing and take care of business. That's who we can be. That's who we are. We just have to do it on a consistent basis. The majority of the season, I kept saying that was our biggest issue. We need consistency. Now we're playing with much more consistency. And that's why you're seeing the results that you're seeing right now, because these guys are playing confident, man. This football team looks so much more confident. If you go back and watch those earlier games, we didn't necessarily look so confident. Guys were trying to figure out their roles, figure out, how they fit within this system. But now everybody is comfortable, confident. They understand that. So with that being said, man, I'm really I'm looking forward to tomorrow. What is it called? Selection Sunday or whatever.
Yeah,
hopefully the committee gets it right. We're going to keep an eye on this Florida State game for sure, because I do believe that that's going to play a huge role in us getting in or not getting in. So keep an eye on that. But with that being said, man, we're hitting it.
Louisville's playing them right now.
No, they are. But again, Florida State, I think, is playing the third string quarterback, right? And Florida State is not that good of a football team.
Their defense right now is Louisville is eating them up.
Again, they're playing with Florida State's playing with the third string quarterback.
I'm saying Louisville's offense is eating Florida State's defense.
Oh, right. I got you.
So
yeah,
you can't stop
Florida State's
Louisville.
not a great team, bro. That's what we're trying to say. We've been saying that.
That's what I'm saying. So even the quarterback, what I'm saying is the quarterback aside, this is telling you right now too that Louisville is giving them a fit.
Yeah, but Louisville's winning, aren't they?
No, they're down 3, but
Florida State's winning
3-0. It's 8 minutes left in the second quarter, and Louisville is.
You just gotta let the game play out. It's still way early in the game, but nonetheless, we've been saying Florida State's not really a great team. But unfortunately, if they win out, they're undefeated conference champions. Knowing how this committee thinks and their thought process is, there's a good chance that they might try to give Florida State the nod over Alabama. That's just keeping it real. Even though they're not as good as us.
Too. Yep, we'll call that TCU Part 2.
Right. Well, yeah, I'm going to turn that game on. We're going to check it out. Does anybody have any last-minute things? We're already at an hour, man.
No, I'm gonna hop off and reload on the medication, and so that'll put me out for the night.
No doubt. We appreciate everybody coming and hanging out with us on this SEC Championship edition of the Miller's Edge post-game show. Again, thank you so much for everybody hanging out with us. If you can, drop a like. That'd be huge. Comment what your thoughts were on this game if you're watching the replay. And if you like the content, you like what you're seeing, make sure you subscribe. We're going to continue to keep doing these things. Even in the offseason, we're going to keep pumping out content. And remember, you can always listen to us Monday through Friday on the radio on Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC AM. Or you can download the app, Tide 100.9, or go to Tide100.9.com or themillersedge.com and listen to us live there as well. And we might have some exciting, we will have some exciting news for you coming up next week. You guys want more of the Miller's Edge? You just might be getting that. I can't spill too much just yet, but stay tuned because there might be some good news for our listeners out there. But again, thank y'all so much for hanging out with us. Again, Alabama getting the job done today. 2023 SEC champions defeating the Georgia Bulldogs 27-24 in Atlanta. They did it. They proved everybody wrong. And look, now it's in the committee's hands. We put our resume out there and now it's in their hands.
Sunday.
We can. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll go live during Selection Sunday or give our reaction.
Let's react live.
We'll do a live reaction. We'll plan on that. We'll do a live reaction to Selection Sunday. Basically reacting if Alabama gets in or if they're held out. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully it's the former. But so yeah, good idea, CJ. We'll go ahead and get that set up. We'll have a reaction to the playoff selections and we'll go from there. But again, thank y'all so much. If you can, just drop that like, subscribe, and appreciate everybody hanging out with us. It's been another fun Miller's Edge post-game show with myself, Christian Miller, my dad, Corey Miller, the pastor of Payne, who we're all thankful that he's out of the hospital feeling good and nurses him back up. And my brother making an appearance, 2 checks, a.k.a. CJ.
Yeah, fireplace on since it's so cold outside.
Huh?
2 checks should have the fireplace on since it's cold outside.
In his luxury mansion that he's renting.
Yes, back here. I'll probably go turn that on now.
Y'all are dumb, man. But anyway, we appreciate you guys, and we'll probably see you guys tomorrow for Selection Sunday as we go live right here. So stay tuned. We'll be back again tomorrow for Selection Sunday right here on the Miller's Edge.